So I've been contemplating choiceless awareness and how that brings about the transformation. It seems that the personality hides in darkness and doesn't want to uh, allow choiceless awareness to happen.
Yeah, I mean, without choiceless awareness, none of this would be happening because we'd just be personalities talking to each other. Without choiceless awareness, you just have and you live the viewpoint of personality. So it is a vital, magical ingredient that changes everything, that allows you to see beyond personality. And it is a magical thing, really. I mean, most people don't even know it exists because they think they are their opinions and their beliefs. Viewpoint from the view of their personality is everything. And how can it be any other way? So it's this weird thing that within that system that seems to have this personality, there's also something else that can see outside of that thing. And by following that choiceless awareness, the personality it's this process of the personality's dominant shrinking and the choiceless awareness gaining sovereignty over this life, really. And that has all sorts of outcomes, and that's the journey, what it does along the way, what has to be thrown overboard, what gets jettisoned from your life because it no longer fits the view from beyond personality. So the adaptation is a big part of this. But yeah, there's this gradual shift, that word, from the viewpoint of personality to a viewpoint beyond it. And it happens through choiceless awareness.
Jess, would you say that quality of choiceless awareness does also kind of shifting the more you are, I would say, yeah, the more you are unfolding in this process?
It's not like the choiceless awareness gets sharper. If that's operating, it's operating, and it's
I
free.
don't know, yeah,
Wherever stage you're at, if choiceless awareness comes in, it's true and it's free. Whether you're just beginning this journey or 1,000 miles down the road, it's the same. It really is magical, isn't it? Because I mean, I think I've said this before. It's like it didn't have to be this way. It could be that choiceless awareness didn't exist, and we would just align with this thing that we grew up with, and the name, and the whole story that goes with it. It could be that that is all humans live, but in fact, for the few who find this, that's not the case, and it's a door to a kind of magical kingdom in a way that takes you to another reality. Well, it's this reality, but it's lived and seen through very different eyes, from a very different perspective, and with a deeper understanding. Understanding, in some ways, understanding, not of the ultimate mystery, obviously, but there is understanding of personality, of those traps, and that you are living in a different way when you see beyond personality. But yeah, we certainly don't own it. Yeah, it's unpossessable. It exists before us. But the more you look at it, the more like mind-blowing it is, I think. Well, I mean, how does it work? We don't know. We can't know. It's a really good example of the great mystery in the middle of our lives. We can't explain it. So when you get in contact with that, you are in touch with the mystery, I think. Yeah.
So many people have different definitions, as we often talk about. And like, would you say just that choiceless awareness, how we use it here, would be the same as what other people simply call awareness or consciousness?
You remember in the book that I make this distinction between personality awareness and choiceless awareness. So obviously there's a big dividing line between those two. One is the view from personality and one is the view from beyond it. I mean, I suppose for me, consciousness with a big C is where choiceless awareness comes from. But it is a particular expression of it in a way. It is awareness that doesn't come from personality. So it's awareness experienced by an individual that doesn't come from that individual. So it comes from the big soup, the big oneness of consciousness with a capital C. It comes from that, but it's expressing in this particular form where it may see very particularly impersonal things about your life, how you're living. Yeah.
I don't know if we all see the difference, the immense difference from using either consciousness or choiceless awareness as an idea. And what you're doing is you're pointing to something which is not an idea. It is not something that we can grab or grasp or possess or even say it's mine. And I don't know if we all see it, but it's so crystal clear to me because you meaning we, or anybody who says that is searching, we're being offered all kinds of ideas about this, all kinds of ideas, all the time. And so being able to see that difference, to see that quality, that you call it magic, and it is.
Yeah, I think in one way you could say choiceless awareness is your guide and your protection against all that stuff out there, which is, let's face it, it's confusing. It's confusing because people can say things that are sort of half true or have truth, but then say other things that aren't. So you could start saying, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about, and then you listen to them and then they'll have some understanding, but it doesn't mean they've had the shift and they're talking from choiceless awareness, So you can, and also you can intellectually know things, so that, the statement may be true, but it's it's not said with the understanding. It can be used, true statements can be used by personality, obviously, to pump up the personality, to appear superior, all sorts of things. So it's dangerous. It's a jungle out there. Yeah. Personality awareness is shaped and informed totally by personality.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this thing of the personality sees what it wants to see because its job is to protect itself. So it's editing in a way that choiceless awareness doesn't edit, even if it's things you may find painful or hurtful or whatever. Mm-hmm. It doesn't close its ears to that. The vital difference is awareness closed down and serving the needs of the personality or not. We're talking about awareness that is narrow or wide.
Because of this magic, because of this mystery, you can see the origin. You can see the source. So you're in contact with the source that is beyond the personality. So that is a different journey. That is a different experience. In that, there is stillness and there is silence. But you're not looking for it. You're not trying anything. You're not even searching. It is there because you are able to see beyond to see beyond.
Choiceless awareness brings about the transformation of the individual. If you could talk a bit about that.
Basically, the personality is exposed. Choiceless awareness exposes the whole game, the whole story of it. And, you know, if your yearning is strong enough, you will be in contact with that and hear it. You know, awareness won't come in and block off things that are painful to hear. So through that process of a confrontation with it, the disidentification happens. That's how it happens. This is not, as we know, self-help. It's not personal growth. It's not about creating a better personality. The outcome is less suffering of the personality variety, but it's not the end of suffering. But yeah, it's not about shining up this life and adapting it to gain all the things that the group personality out there tells us we should be living and following and looking like and thinking. Yeah, it's beyond all that. The personality tries to come in this journey and sort of infiltrates the journey and tries to hijack it, I suppose, and it can turn it into criticism of I'm a bad person, or my personality is bad, and therefore I'm bad. Whereas you see, choiceless awareness is neutral. It has no judgments of that kind. It sees things and evaluates, but no judgments in the way that we mean it when there's criticism involved and negativity. So it just sees without this additional baggage of putting you down or saying you should do better and all that. It doesn't have any of that. It just sees what is going on. For example, it's seeing that little loop is happening. It sees that personality is trying to come in to this inquiry. So that, I would say, was an example of choiceless awareness in itself. So you have moments when that's happening, where the personality is coming in and using it in that way. And then there's moments when you see that happening. And as you get clearer and the choiceless awareness gets stronger, one starts to fade out and the other one kind of overpowers. So it doesn't happen anymore. And then you'll be a better person and you'll be more lovable. Then you'll be worthy of love, because you're not now, right?
No.
But to David's point, regarding, you know, the personality hopping on board and taking over the whole journey of this.
Yeah.
It seems like that's how we stay on the quote unquote path for so long. It's like we keep searching because the personality is trying to like figure it out and work it into the lifestyle or something. I don't know, but he really touched something with me when he brought that up. It's big.
Yeah. So it's sort of, it kind of muddies the waters, and instead of being life as it is, you get ensnared again in these loops of, it's just another way for the personality to creep back in and confuse you, basically. Because choiceless awareness isn't confused. It just sees. And the patterns are confusing, aren't they? So the moment you see what you've just seen, there's clarity, right? Ah, that's what's happening.
When I was saying that is how we've always talked about how quote unquote gurus and spiritual teachers, you know, fall off the edge or whatever, or get caught up in personality again. It's so strong. It comes in again and again. It tries to get in all the cracks, you know. Like Leonard Cohen says, the cracks where the light gets in. Well, the crack can be where the personality comes back in too, you know. It seems to be the main struggle.
Somebody can be spouting a lot of poetic words or things they've learned from the Upanishads, or even things, experiences they've had in the past, and they could be, you know, based in truth. But if their personality is showing in the way they're saying it, in the superiority behind they're saying it, in all sorts of ways, then you get an immediate reading of like, oh, okay, well, they know some things, but they haven't had the shift, because they wouldn't be doing that. So yeah, even with people who've had big openings, big experiences, personality tries to creep back in, maybe even more sometimes, because it's fighting even more. It's the ultimate litmus test. Freedom is our home and our natural state. So you become more attuned to the sense of that freedom, and that's what guides your actions and your life. So the patterns become just sort of silly distractions from that in the end. Oh no, I don't want to put them down, because patterns are patterns and they're difficult and you have to see through them. But in the end, they're just distractions from that freedom. They're perversions of your natural state, really. They're just what they are. They're the outcome of personality trying to get us by, get us through in this life, in a world where love was missing at the beginning. So again, we're not putting down the personality. It's just what is. It did what it did to get what it needed to get to survive and help us get through it. But from the viewpoint of it, of freedom, they're just it's energy frittering away, isn't it? It's, yeah. And moments lost to unfreedom, really. As awareness is closed down, just as that happens that's personality awareness, and that's what happens in personalities, so feelings are closed down too. You know, they're side by side. They both happen, because the personality is seeking to protect you from painful feelings. So on this journey, the opposite happens. Awareness widens, and the feeling center kind of wakes up, basically. And yeah, you become much more sensitive, and yeah, fulfilling engagement with life. And personality is about operating out there and operating efficiently, and feelings like that don't really kind of go with it, really. Emotions do. I mean, personality loves emotions. You look at films, it's all built on creating emotion, evoking romance and emotion in you, and fear, and, you know, action movies and excitement. It's all about that. But feeling, that's a different thing.
Just does it ever stop the personality?
Yeah. Do you mean fully, or what? Can you be a bit more specific?
Yeah, fully. Or is it? Yeah, fully.
Was it last week we talked about the shift? So if the question was does identification with personality ever stop? Yeah, yes. And that's what the shift is. The reverberations or memories or shadows of personality, you know, ghosts almost, you could say, can still appear, because they're kind of, they're recorded, sort of. It seems that they're kind of recorded deep in your psyche somehow. So even when identification goes, for example, feelings from the wound can still be there, because they were so strong and they shaped a life so much. But that's not the personality being there. That's the almost let's call it the residue of personality, and personality's story. And also the feelings are not personality, they're feelings. So they're just the kind of leftover imprint. So yeah, feelings are not personality. If you were stuck in an emotion around it, you know, self-pity or dramatization of it, that would be personality. So
At the very start, when I joined the group, I thought like, okay, you eliminate a personality, like it disappears. But what I'm understanding more and more is like you see it. And then like the power it has just lessens.
and then and through that it does lessen. Yeah, it does. It really does. You know,
Yeah.
because you know, I often use that phrase, it's like it dies on the vine. If you cut the vine, it doesn't get fed. And then it's like, well, what's keeping it there? There's nothing, you know, the wound and the protection it gave you from the wound gave it a reason to be there. If you touch, feel, hence heal the wound, it's almost like its reason for being there. Just what are you still doing here? You know, you don't fit with this anymore. You're not needed. You know, so it does. Yeah, it does dissolve. Yeah. So I guess what I'm saying is that it can be that there are reverberations, there's sort of slight shadows, memories in the emotional body of things that are from that life and that identification. So it's almost like the residue of having been identified as a personality can still persist in some areas as it still heals, I guess. But the personality itself, I don't know. I don't feel it myself.
Mm.
Quite a
But
fine
like,
distinction, I guess, but an important one, you know. You know, it'd be very easy to say, oh yeah, you wake up and then it's finished, it's gone, and you never have it again. You never feel bad feelings again. You never, you know, that would be the sort of absolutist viewpoint, dualist viewpoint. But yeah, we're interested in seeing life as it is, and yeah. And you know, it's like, just to take it one step further, that's an idea of perfection that we've got. Who are we to say that a shadow can't still persist until it's finished with? If it's not finished with, it's not finished. So that's good. That means it will come up when it comes up, and it will have an opportunity to be felt and be finished with more. So yeah, the one that has the idea of perfection goes, and everything is seen without a kind of, you know, seen with choiceless awareness, to bring it round full circle, without those sort of opinions on it. It's almost like, rather than feeling, oh, I shouldn't have that, you're more kind of interested. Oh, that's still there. All right. But you see, the one that sees it is free. We're not using that to escape feeling it or escape the idea that it's there or push it away. We're not using it for personality awareness. But it is true to say that the one that sees it is free.